Hobos and other drug-addled vagabonds and criminals regularly kill people on subways in major cities. You can hardly go a few days without hearing about some poor chump being verbally accosted, knifed, or thrown in front of a train. Some passengers, especially women, have taken to literally tying themselves to support beams to make sure no one can come up behind them and push them onto the tracks. Everyone knows this is the new reality, and yet it's reported as local news, more or less, and that's about it. But now that a Marine veteran in New York City decided to do something about a hobo, who I guess sometimes dresses as Michael Jackson to dance for passengers, no word if anyone actually enjoys those performances or if they just politely tolerate it so as to keep their blood on the inside of their body. Well, all of a sudden now it's time to riot and protest and to care about a death in the subway. The hobo in question is named Jordan Neely. He's had 40 prior arrests and had an active warrant for felony assault before the 24-year-old bystander put the 30-year-old into a headlock to subdue him. Before authorities could arrive, Neely was reportedly ranting and raving in an aggressive manner, eyewitnesses said, saying that he had no food or water and that he was tired and that he didn't care if he went to jail and got life in prison because he was ready to die. Now that's terrifying, being stuck on a subway with a guy like that. And during the time, the Marine veteran had a hold on the man, and at some point there were other men helping to subdue Neely. Some bystanders expressed concern for Neely's well-being, to which they were told that the Marine had stopped applying pressure and was just holding him. It seems highly improbable at this point that a chokehold was applied for 15 minutes, despite what reports are saying. Now, given the fact that Neely lived on the streets, it's more than likely he was a drug addict. And as we've seen with plenty of criminals like George Floyd, drug use destroys the heart and makes it very easy for it to go into arrhythmias with enough stress, meaning that these men aren't necessarily killed but are having a medical episode because of their own poor life choices. We should pray for the repose of Neely's soul and be very mad at the activists who lie and say that it's humane to let drug-addled and mentally ill people live on the streets like stray dogs and become feral and prone to dying at their own hands or at someone else's hands. Guys like Neely were once beautiful babies and smiley toddlers. But with the erosion of family and other community structures, who's there to watch out for them now? No one. And so they spiral down more and more through a mix of their own conscious sins and by circumstance without corrective guidance from someone who actually cares enough to get them clean and sober. So not only does Neely have to suffer and all those he terrorized on the subways, but now this Marine veteran who did not kill or attempt to kill this man only to protect himself and others will have to pay for it. I mean, so far charges have not been brought, but they could be once an autopsy is complete. And you know, Soros-backed DA Alvin Bragg is going to want to capitalize on this, especially if the protests pick up steam and don't fizzle out. It's a sick world. If you watch something bad happen, you're allowing evil to prey on the most vulnerable in society. But then if you try and be a good Samaritan, you risk ruining your life in the thralls of a corrupt legal system. It's a lose-lose scenario manufactured on purpose. And perhaps now is a good time to point out this related fact, which is that most homicide victims in big cities are also criminals themselves. I recently came across this old article from the Baltimore Sun using statistics from the year 2017, which found that of the 343 people killed in the city that year, about 86% of the victims and 85% of the suspects that police could identify all had prior criminal records, with about half of them having previously been arrested for gun crimes. Quote, "The average homicide victim in Baltimore in 2017 had 11 previous arrests on his record. About 73% had drug arrests, and nearly 50% had been arrested for a violent crime. About 30% were on parole or probation at the time they were killed, and more than 6% were on parole or probation for a gun crime. 20% of the victims were known members of a gang or drug crew, according to the data. The average homicide suspect, meanwhile, had 9 previous arrests on his record. About 70% had drug arrests, and nearly half had been arrested for a violent crime. Nearly 36% were on parole or probation, and 6% were on parole or probation for a gun crime, the data show. 18% of the suspects were known members of a gang or drug crew, according to the data." End quote. So what's happening here? What is happening to the America we were born and raised in? Well, our first guest tonight has written extensively on topics such as anarcho-tyranny, the left's power patronage system, and his latest article is titled "The Intentional Demolition of American Identity." Oren McIntyre is a columnist at The Blaze, and he hosts the Oren McIntyre Show podcast. Oren, thanks for dropping by tonight.